Tonight on CTV, we take a look at the closing of the Village Vidiot, as well as the mysterious fog that has covered northern Colorado.
Then we have the highlights from the Rocky Mountain Showdown, Fortitude 10K, and Tour de Fat from this weekend. All this plus weather, sports, and entertainment tonight on CTV News.
Good evening and thank you for tuning in to CTV News. I'm Stuart Smith.
And I'm Nicole Parra. Let's take a look at everything going on in the world of news. There is noticeable haze and smoke in the air in northern Colorado today. Much of eastern Colorado, including Fort Collins, is under air quality health advisory because of smoke pouring into the area from fires in northwestern U.S. and Canada. The warning issued Monday by the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment is for areas below 7,000 feet and includes Denver, Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Greeley, and Boulder. Slow-moving upper-level winds continue to transport smoke and haze into the state from the many fires burning from Montana to the Pacific Northwest. According to the National Weather Service, Wellington Fire advised via Twitter to keep windows closed and outdoor activity to a minimum.
In light of President Donald Trump's decision to phase out Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, commonly referred to as DACA, a rally for solidarity with DACA students will be held in front of Senator Cory Gardner's office, located in Fort Collins across the street from the CSU campus. In an interview with the Associated Press, Trump said his administration is not after the dreamers, we are after the criminals. But Republican leaders from 10 states, led by Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, threatened to sue if the president's administration did not pass DACA to Congress. DACA is an Obama-era program that functions to shield the country's nearly 800,000 undocumented immigrants that were brought to the United States as children from deportation. People who file with DACA can receive an American driver's license, a social security number, and a worker's permit. CSU is home to more than 100 DACA students. The DACA Solidarity Rally will be hosted by Alianza Norco, Fort Collins for Progress, and Indivisible Norco from 4:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. According to the event's Facebook post, around 100 people are expected to attend. The rally is located at Gardner's office because although he was not among the authors of the ultimatum, he has not publicly voiced support of DACA and has voted to rescind it in the past. However, today during a rally, Gardner publicly came out in support of the DREAM Act, Congress's version of DACA.
If you live in Fort Collins and love adventure, chances are you were at the Fortitude 10K this Labor Day weekend. Let's take a look at how the historic event played out. State's new stadium where the inaugural Fortitude 10K is taking place. The stadium opened its doors for community to gather and kick off a new tradition of celebrating Labor Day. The Fortitude 10K is a way for CSU and Fort Collins to come together to celebrate the opening of the new football stadium. The 10K welcomed walkers, joggers, and USA Pro racers. Hundreds of volunteers showed up to guide participants throughout the race.
I got up and just came and volunteered for the race and got set up and was a marshal to make sure people don't go on the field or the streets at all.
Several of the participants had ties to the Fort Collins community.
I am a CSU Ram. I had a buddy who challenged me on a golf course to run and do it, and he's a CU buff. He didn't make it today, but I did.
From start to finish, runners took pride in the relationship between CSU and Fort Collins.
Well, I think the community's always rallied together. When I went to school here, and today's just showcases that once again. There were so many people out on the course today, and the university looks great, so I think it just brings a lot more exposure to what's already a great city.
The event was a success for the city and university. Registration is already open for next year's 10K. If you're interested in participating, visit www.fortitude10k.boulderboulder.com.
Colorado State University students walk past the Hollery and the Laurie Student Center every day, but they may not know the passion, creativity, and fearlessness that went into each piece. The current exhibit is titled Unbridled, and it is a mixed media gallery created by fourth-year art major Todd Underwood. According to his artist statement, Underwood's goal for the gallery was to lose control and embrace unbridled creativity. Throughout this process, Underwood said he grew as an artist because he did not contain his creative process. "I'm really experimenting right now," Underwood said. "The Hollery is all experimental media. I used makeup, house paint, and spray paint, and I really liked the process. Last semester, I took a methods and materials class where we used experimental materials. I loved it and kept going with it. It's where I found my work going." The Hollery is the only art gallery in the LSC dedicated solely showcasing student work. It was created after students expressed interest in showcasing their work, and its location, which is the hallway between the basement leading out to the north parking lot, was chosen because of the large amount of foot traffic in the area.
Michael Kodas has embarked on journeys across the world, from a 22,494-foot peak in Nepal to minefields in Vietnam. Over the last 2 decades, Kodas, an award-winning photographer, reporter, and author, is giving a book talk to introduce his latest nonfiction book, Megafire: The Race to Extinguish a Deadly Epidemic of Flame. In 1999, Kodas and a team of journalists received the Pulitzer Prize for breaking news coverage at the Hartford Courant. Kodas worked at the Courant as a photographer, picture editor, and writer from 1987 to 2008. Kodas's work has appeared in publications such as the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, and the Denver Post. Kodas received the USA Book News Best Nonfiction Award in October of 2008 for High Crimes, his best-selling book. Kodas also speaks across the country at schools, corporations, churches, galleries, and nonprofit organizations. Kodas gives multimedia presentations about the destinations he has traveled to as both a photographer and as a reporter. His talk is on Thursday, September 7th at 6 p.m. at Old Firehouse Books.
One staple of Fort Collins life is closing this month after more than 25 years in the city. Despite the rise of mega companies such as Amazon and Netflix, and the concurrent fall of places like Blockbuster, one independent video store in Fort Collins has managed to stay in business, until now. Shepherd first ran into problems during the construction of the West Elizabeth Underpass.
That's what started the whole thing. Everybody's struggling, but we were struggling to get through the construction anyway. Even the pre-planning stage, they started blocking streets, and we came up and I raised some money to cover the costs when they did close the place, and they closed the corner for a month. And you can't get here, and that's hugely destructive. But we raised enough money through the little campaign we ran to pay payments on some of the bills and just keep going.
But the Village Vidiot is not going out of business due to a lack of customers.
We had the new landlord. He's a new landlord. He came in and said, "Hi, I'm your new landlord. I bought the church, and I needed to buy your building to get it for the parking lot, and we'd like you to leave." And we just, no, I've got a lease. I'm raising money to stay.
At first, Shepherd tried to find a new location to put the Vidiot.
You can't just go on Mulberry. You can't just hit Harmony. You have to go somewhere where you'll come and see it, and where my existing clientele can walk or whatever. So we tried a few places that were locals. It just didn't work out. There were just a lot of reasons. But
it was during that search that he had a revelation.
It hit me. I've been here 80 hours plus every week. It's just me, and I've dragged my wife in here 80 hours a week. And really, if I'd been working 40 hours a week with a partner like we had done, I'd be upset. But now, no, I'm not upset now.
Though Shepherd has put so much time into the store over the last decades, he is not saddened to see it come to an end.
No, I'm glad it lasted that long. It's been fun. I'm happy. I'm in a good mood. Everybody comes in, "I'm so sorry." No, whatever. I'm fine. Oh, it's fantastic. Most people don't last 30 years. They don't live 30 years. But it's been pretty fun.
Be sure to check them out for cheap DVDs and Blu-rays before they fully close on September 25th. I'll be sure to.
There's a peculiar pile of dirt near the Clark Building at Colorado State University. Upon a closer look, there is a sign that reads, "Pollinator Garden coming soon." The Clark Garden bed is the start of CSU's attempt to become a bee-friendly campus, spearheaded by facilities management. Fred Haberrecht, landscape architect and chair of the committee for the garden, said perennial beds are a major renovation. Haberrecht said, "We want to encourage insects that increase pollination, and we are picking specific plants to do that." Haberrecht and David Hansen directed the project, aided by Holly Miller, horticulture technician at CSU, who helped pick out plants for the renovation. Miller said the landscapes have to be redone every year because they become overgrown and they need renewal. Miller said the project arose from a coincidental intersection between a student's research and a landscape's needs for reconstruction. The reconstruction will help highlight the research that is currently happening on campus.
A state commission has begun looking at avenues to build a passenger rail service that would stretch up and down the Front Range of central Colorado. The Colorado Springs Gazette reported Sunday that the commission, which includes government representatives from Denver to Trinidad, has until December 1st to submit the legislature a plan detailing steps forward and funding options. The ultimate hope is for a commuter rail that runs from Fort Collins to Pueblo, which David Krutzinger of the State Department of the Transportation says would cost between $5 billion and $15 billion. The 13-member commission will meet for the second time this week and plans to convene at least once a month. And in Fort Collins news, the Fort Collins Police Services reported today that a bear has been reported in Fort Collins in the 300 block of Cherry Street. FCPS asks that residents leave the bear alone and they do not approach it. They say, quote, "Bears are not furry attractors, despite what the movies show."
Stay safe and stay tuned for your weather update with Zach Trombetta coming up next.